Okay, hello. So I'm from EclipseSCADA. We're just having a presentation to look back 1 year when we were at the last EclipseCon. So first to show you what is EclipseSCADA. So I'm not sure about who has heard the term or has an idea about the term SCADA. Okay, that's good. So it's more about industrial communication, industrial systems. So what we see here is a screenshot of what we will be presenting at EclipseCon, which is a lot more color than it used to be, because it should be more gray and gray. It's for industrial, big industrial systems, where you can have monitoring functionality, data archival, visualization of the current state of your industrial machines. So that's what we're doing. We're doing the visualization, we're doing the data aggregation, getting the data from industrial devices, like for example S7 PLCs, from Modbus devices, we have one IC protocol now. So we're trying to get all the information in as quickly or as accurate as possible, and then doing monitoring, visualization, and archive of this data. So we had, in the year back, we had the 0.1 release. EclipseSCADA is coming from OpenSCADA. So for OpenSCADA, this would have been the 1.2 release. But since we're an incubation project, we've restarted the number with 0.1. This was April this year. So we migrated most of the components from OpenSCADA to EclipseSCADA. And we also started adding the new features, which is the data we have in EclipseSCADA. We're not getting only in data using Modbus, but now we can also export the data we have in Modbus. So all the processing stuff that we have, like scaling and scripts and all this kind of stuff, we can also now give this data to other systems now. Starting with Modbus in the 0.1 release. Also REST support. And what we started, since SCADA systems are quite complicated for the configuration setup, we have started some Eclipse IDE-based configuration tool for this. So we would like to have the 0.2 release already. The problem is we have some open legal issues, which we're talking about for about 6 months, I guess. We have an implementation of the IEC 6870 protocol, which is thought for EclipseSCADA. The problem is that the IEC doesn't have a clear license policy about how can you use open source, or how open source projects can use their specifications. So I know that Mike Milinkovic is in contact with them, trying to get some statement about what the implications are if you want to use these standards as an open source project. Up until now, there's no decision from either side if it's okay, if it's not okay, what the licenses are, what the implications there are. So we wanted to have this feature in the 0.2 release, so we're still waiting and pushing back the release, since we would prefer to have functionality in EclipseSCADA. The other solution would be to put this into OpenSCADA, because we still have OpenSCADA as an extension to EclipseSCADA for protocols like OPC or at the moment SNMP, which we cannot put in EclipseSCADA due to license restrictions.
Does anyone have experience working with IEC in the standards or the IEC?
Which IEC standard?
That's 6870. That's our standard which we are talking about, and the other one is another project proposal, which is Fordiac, which is doing IEC 61499.
But it's also just in general, the licensing of IEC doesn't really seem clear. Right? So it seems like you buy a paper copy of the stack that you can buy, right? But it's not really clear on how do you implement that stack, and what's the licensing when you implement that specification. So we're trying to figure that out.
There's no clear statement. I think that's the point. And also for OPC UA, there is some reference to web link where you can download a file, which you can use for implementing OPC UA. But there's no license indication about, are you allowed, are you not allowed, can you use the file, can you?
So if anyone has experience implementing IEC specs and kind of experience either commercial or open source, we would like to talk to you.
There are a number of IEC open source implementations.
The equivalent is the ISO standard, right? So it's normally ISO IEC, right?
No, they're sharing. They're sharing. So you have
for the C standard, there you have an ISO and IEC.
So it's like they have an IEC standard, and then the dean can adopt the Austrian, and everybody adopts the standard from IEC, using the same number mostly.
Because I only have experience with like ISO / IEC standards, not IEC standards.
It comes the real question behind is also how to distribute stuff, because in many cases you have some modeling around it, you have one information model, just let it be in VSCL file, and you distribute it as an Eclipse project with your project. There's no answer to that.
So my experience with the ISO stuff was that the paper, the actually written stuff, that is copyrighted. That's what they're selling. But the content is so you're allowed to use contents freely afterwards.
Yes.
So it's really just a document. I think you have to make sure that you have to do that.
I've seen emails between Mike Milinkovic and the guy from the IEC, and it was from the beginning. It was a little bit like, what are the implications? Can we make it open source? No, you cannot copy the document. We don't want to copy the document. We want to have an implementation. No, you cannot copy the document. You can make. So they were talking in two different directions. And they were thinking about, they want to copy the paper, which we do not want to. So they are not coming out with a clear statement saying, okay, your implementation, you can use it as you like. But they don't say that. And unless they say something like that, or have some license agreement or whatever, the Eclipse Foundation is hesitating to say, okay, well, go ahead, which I understand.
So my question was that it's exactly like that. Like the document itself, that's protected, but not what you make out of it.
Yes, but even if you have a look at their website or at their legal advices or whatever, they never say, okay, the implementation is free. They only say you cannot make a copy of the document.
But so maybe secondly, we can take the doc line and you can kind of point kind of what the training kind of. How did that justify? I don't know if this was internal with Bosch SI, but
no, that was when I was working at the university.
Okay. But there seems to be lots of IEC implementations out there. We're just trying to figure out kind of how people did the kind of IP check and make it, right? And so
I mean, it's a problem for the Eclipse Foundation, so not a problem. It's I understand the situation, because if you are just some guy making open source software, okay, you just say, okay, I don't care. But the Eclipse Foundation is responsible for the content. We need an approach.
okay.
Which is also good for other companies using it.
Right.
So, what is in there in the 0.2 release? We rewrote the Modbus implementation. So, one idea of EclipseSCADA is to use, especially in the protocol sector, to use reusable modules. We make libraries which can be reused by other projects. Modbus was not one of these. Did not hold up to this. So we rewrote the Modbus implementation because we also needed it internally. We have driver support, we can export it, and we have basic building blocks now to create your own Modbus solutions. Java support, Java 8 support, and Luna was a little bit of an issue in the beginning. So switching to Java 8 was a problem because of the JavaScripting library, Nassor, which caused a few problems. We have many improvements in the graphical configuration tool and in the configuration of the system. We have project wizards, Python support, previews of the process screens, of the HMI, of the charting. validation, all this stuff. Also important thing is we are deploying to the target nodes. We are deploying using Debian or RPM packages, for example, on Linux. And it is possible to create these packages now on Windows. So on Windows, you just say on the configuration project, okay, export, and then you get ready to run Debian file, which you just throw on the device. And you can also do this from the Windows platform. We did a little bit of MQTT cleanup to have better MQTT integration, mostly for the Java 1 demonstration. And of course, there are lots of smaller things in there. So, what we did not do up to now is IEC 6870. Also, because of that, we are using NetT for this implementation. We wanted to push it to Orbit so that others can use NetT from Orbit, which is also holding back due to this issue. OPC and SNMP also are still in OpenSCADA due to licensing.
Is that the same licensing issue?
No, it's a different. So for UtGuard or OPC, that's not OPC UA, that's OPC DA, the old one. We use a library called JInterop, which is also used by Hudson. They kicked out the plugin requiring it because of licensing issues. Now, I know the author of JInterop, and he agreed to make a new version which is based on EPL. So he kicked out most of the dependencies and made a new implementation of these under the EPL. There is still one library which he did not upgrade, so he's also not interested in doing this because of. So yeah, it will be a little bit of talking. Maybe we have to do it on our own. So we will see how this turns out. But in general, he put his license as EPL now. So we are one step closer. So for interoperability, we also talked with Eurotech about this topic, sharing protocol implementations, because I think the classic is Modbus, and everybody has Modbus. So who has used Modbus in his past? Maybe only you. Kai, you also use Modbus. You have a Modbus implementation.
Yes, but I didn't implement it.
Okay, but we have it. Okay, so that's one thing. Also, the IC protocol, maybe other protocols can be shared between projects. MQTT, as you already said, there is MQTT. You can just put in anything. It would be interesting to have a better idea of what's inside MQTT. So to have like a description, like a specification. To say, okay, this is MQTT, namespace X, and we can all share this.
So what do you think about the lightweight M10 over MQTT? Does that kind of start to help with that?
We haven't had a look at it, I have to admit, because up to now we don't have any business case about that. We were going into the MQTT direction first to see, okay, we are very close to the MQTT based on the IoT working group. So that's...
But if I understand correctly, doing the lightweight M10 over MQTT will allow you what's in the payload.
Yeah.
But there are two things, right? One is just the telemetry data, and one is that you look at lightweight M10 with that device. But for the telemetry data, I think maybe we can have a breakout, and afterwards we have a standard that we use in Pura, and it's open standard.
Because we had the discussion at the IoT Beer Garden event with DC Square, it was, I think. They had an idea of saying, okay, we just want to connect OPC and MQTT. But how do you format it in an MQTT message? So that's I think a big issue, and that's MQTT
no,
payload.
certainly, we spent some time, and at this point it's still proven in the sense that we have a lot of
So if you have something as a start, perfect.
we would definitely be happy to share what we have. So, and it's also one that we use right now for the device management foundation.
So one thing we are looking for as infrastructure coming from the Eclipse Foundation, we also have signing of binaries using normal Java's code signing or Microsoft code signing. One thing that we have is we have YAML and apt repositories, we have Debian packages and then RPM packages. We would like to sign them as well. So I know there are some projects doing this just manually, but there is a signing infrastructure at Eclipse for the other part. So it would be interesting to have signing support using UPG. We are using Garrett at the moment as Git repository. Some of you use GitHub. Actually, we would like to have a sync between Garrett and GitHub because for OpenSCADA we had GitHub support, and people very often come to GitHub and don't come to the Eclipse Garrett system first. So it would be interesting to have a sync between GitHub and Garrett. So that's it.
So you saw the signing support. Who else has that requirement? Who else would like to see that?
It's there, we use it.
Yeah, but you're using Debian RPM package as well?
Yeah.
Are you? I know we had a talk last year that some contributor made support for RPM. Okay.
In OpenHub there's something about RPM there for EclipseCon.
Would you be interested in that? No. Okay.
As it's more framework, it's not that.
Yes, I understand. So
necessary to have distribution packages. So.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay.
What are you using right now for the visualization I saw?
That's something based on Draw2D. On Draw2D, which is from the Eclipse Foundation. We have an EMF model based on this. So we have two models. One is more structured as a formula input, and one's more vector graphics input. And we have a model for this. So we have a static model representing the symbols, which you can then reuse and integrate. And then we have using JavaScript, you can dynamically update the state of the visualization. If you like,
Have you looked at BERT?
we haven't had a look at BERT. However, I found it more like a tool for processing a bunch of data that's already there. So like accessing database. I've seen now something different from Java 1. So it would be interesting to have a look. Is there anything we can add or share?
If only I had a status update soon.
Yeah. So maybe the BERT guys can help you, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we can have a look at this because we have some samples.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.